Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get to here on a Friday show. We got another hitter highlight coming up that I'm very excited about. Some notes from Brewers camp. But we have to start with the big news here. Pat Murphy has signed a new contract with the Milwaukee Brewers, a 3-year deal. This is one that has been a long time coming. Coming into spring, we knew that this was the last year of his contract, and given what he had done, winning back-to-back Manager of the Year awards in his first 2 seasons, it seemed obvious that an extension was going to be coming, and now it is officially done. So some of the details of the deal, it's a 3-year contract, but it rips up this year of the deal. So the 3 years starts this year. So it's 2 additional years for Pat Murphy, which keeps him here under contract guaranteed through the 2028 season, but there is also a club option for 2029. But still, you have the extension done. Pat Murphy's going to get a nice big raise this year, which is certainly well-deserved. Again, back-to-back Manager of the Year awards in his first 2 seasons as manager. I mean, there's nothing more you could have asked from the dude, really, in terms of being able to manage this team. So Pat Murphy, he gets a deal. Very, very well deserved. This needed to happen. This was going to happen all along. So I'm glad that the 2 sides were able to get this done. And Pat Murphy, he gets a very good payday here. According to Jeff Passan, nearly $9 million in new money for Pat Murphy. $8.95 million in new money. Now, I'm not sure exactly what Murphy's contract was set for this year, what his salary was set for this year. But if you got $8.95 million over 3 years, that's just over, or that's just around $3 million a year. But you kind of take off, whatever the money was for this year, and kind of subtract that. But if you look at it over, like let's say he has a similar salary, somewhat for this year even. That's nearly $4.5 million a season in guaranteed money for Pat Murphy, which places him in the top 5 of MLB managers. I mean, just looking at the salaries out there, obviously we know Craig Counsell at $8 million a season. Dave Roberts also up at $8 million. Alex Cora's getting over 7. Torey Lovullo's at $5 million a year. But then, I mean, you got Pat Murphy basically right there. At around $4 million, most likely, is what it's going to come down to. So he's right up there, right around top 5 in MLB managers. So certainly well deserved. Obviously, again, having won the awards, he should be a top 5 paid manager in the league, and that's ultimately what he gets here. So this is a great deal for Pat Murphy. Great deal for the Brewers. They keep their continuity. Continuity is so important to this organization with the success that they have had. When they had the turmoil with Craig Counsell leaving for the Chicago Cubs, they end up promoting Pat Murphy, not only because he's a very good coach, but it helps keep that continuity of leadership. Despite losing your manager, you get the continuity to stay. Pat Murphy moves up, and you also keep a lot of the assistants in place that way as well. Keeping that kind of continuity. And now Murphy, having proven that he certainly deserves this job and is very, very good at it, that he ends up sticking around. So this is great news for the Brewers to get this done, because that's kind of been a shadow hanging over the heads here in spring training. It's like, okay, well, we know it's in the last year of the deal, but we haven't heard anything about an extension yet. But why wouldn't you? So that's done, taken care of. Absolutely love it. Love it for Murph. Love it for the Brewers. And being willing to pay the manager, being willing to pay for a top 5 paid manager in the league. The Brewers and their ownership have been accused of perhaps not wanting to pay managers, that kind of rate. They didn't want to pay the last guy that kind of rate. Although I think, frankly, the last guy, Counsell, I think he just wanted out. I think he just wanted to move on to a different organization. And just get the most amount of money possible. But the Brewers are willing to pay their manager. They're certainly willing to pay the loyal ones, and not the ones using them for leverage, just to get more money elsewhere. That's not what Pat Murphy was going to do. They found a deal that was fair, so you absolutely love to see it. Pat Murphy is going to stick around and be a thorn in Counsell's side for the next couple of seasons. which is certainly going to be very nice to see, as those two are going to be going at it for the next couple of years. But Pat Murphy, I mean, this needed to get done. Now, can we just make Sal Frelick? Can we have Sal Frelick on one too, or maybe Bryce Turang? William Contreras. Maybe just an idea. If we're handing out extensions here, maybe let's just throw those names out there for extension talks. But Murphy absolutely needed to happen here. This is far different from the pitchers who are a year away from their contract expiring and letting them go or trading them out. It's not the same case here for the manager. But still, Pat Murphy down there in spring training as Brewers camp is ongoing, and it's just kind of some notes that I've seen coming out this week from the guys that are down there, the Jack Stearns, the Brewer Fanatic, and Adam McCalvey and Todd Rosiak. Dom Catronio as well from the Brewers Radio Network. They've all been down there and doing great work, getting stories and getting content out there. Just being able to see these guys. So I do want to give some credit to them for a lot of this information because they're the ones on the ground getting it put out here. And I want to bring up one of the things that I saw Jack Stern point out, that Logan Henderson is adding a curveball to his pitch mix this year. So Logan Henderson had it in college, the curveball, and he kind of went away from it in pro ball, and now he's kind of reintroducing it here as he kind of needs basically a stronger breaking ball because he's been primarily four-seam changeup, with a cutter a little bit and a little bit of a slider. So he's kind of, it's similar to the slider that he's thrown, but it has a little bit more movement. So that's, I think, going to be very, very important for him, because as good as a changeup is for Logan Henderson, in order to succeed as a starter in the big leagues, you need a third pitch, a reliable third pitch that you can go to. Going just fastball change, that's not going to work getting through a lineup 2 or 3 times. It's just not. You can make it work when you're Trevor Hoffman and you're pitching 1 inning, okay? But if you're going to be a starter, especially in today's MLB, you got to have a third pitch. You got to have a really good breaking ball. So Logan Henderson introducing the changeup, introducing the curveball to go along with this changeup for the off speed. That is very important for his development, and that's going to be something really to watch here as spring training goes along, because Henderson is in a battle for a rotation spot with a lot of other guys. Okay, there are a lot of players, a lot of pitchers competing for probably 2 rotation spots at the start of the year. Henderson has a very good chance to make it. Being a highly touted prospect. And just kind of having the production that he's had. I mean, in 5 starts last year, a 1.78 ERA. I mean, my God. But if he's going to have that kind of success long term, he needs a curveball. He needs some sort of breaking ball like that. So having that be developing here as spring goes along, I think that's going to be very, very important. Also, Garrett Mitchell, talking to reporters as well about wanting to remain aggressive, but also trying to be a little bit more cautious because in the past, his aggressiveness has caused injuries. They've been a lot of the fluke variety. I mean, the one he's running from second to third, and for some reason the first baseman throws the ball over there to try and get Mitchell, so he has to slide in, tears out his shoulder, has to have surgery. Another time, just in batting practice or in a live BP against Freddie Peralta, gets jammed, breaks his finger, and is out for 3 months. And then last year, obviously, on rehab, and has to just dive back into first base and tears his shoulder out again. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the poor injury luck this man has had. And I mean, he plays hard. He's certainly a gamer, as he's talked about, but you got to be able to know when to use that aggressiveness and know when to maybe dial it back a little bit. So if Mitchell has to dial it back on that just to remain healthy and stay out there, I think that's going to be very important for him, because as much as you love to see him make the diving plays and use his speed to his advantage that way, I I'd rather just see him out there instead of being on the injured list for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. Just have that guy healthy. Because, I mean, when he's swinging the bat, obviously that aggressiveness doesn't need to tone down at all. So I'm just very excited for what he can do this season when he's healthy. And I think him taking a smarter approach to that aggressiveness in order to remain healthy is very, very important. So I'm very excited for what that's going to end up bringing here. All right, so those were a couple of the notes there. Now I want to get into a hitter highlight, our hitter highlight here on this Friday. Not Garrett Mitchell, but Bryce Turang, another Brewers first-round pick. And Bryce Turang is one of the most exciting young players on this team. I mean, if the Brewers didn't have 5 billion infielders among their top prospects, I'd say Turang should be an absolutely guaranteed slam dunk extension candidate. But given all those middle infielders the Brewers have coming up through the system, they may just simply be willing to wait on that and see the young kids develop as Turang goes through arbitration here going forward. But with what Bryce Turang has done, how do you not want this guy around? And how can you not be excited about what he's going to do this year? Obviously, playing for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. But just looking at Bryce Turang, I am so incredibly excited for what he can bring this year. It's going to be his age 26 season. Okay? It's hard to believe. It feels like he's been around forever. But the Brewers drafted him when he was 18, straight out of high school. He debuted at 23. And every single year, Bryce Turang has gotten better. Just looking at the numbers from his rookie season in 2023, 1.5 wins above replacement, hit 6 homers, 218 batting average, 285 on base, 300 slugging, stole 26 bases. So it's like, okay, you need to be able to hit better. He even has talked about it. He was trying to sell out too much for power. When it's like, dude, you're not really a power hitter. Contact skills, get on base, steal bases. That should be your game. So it's like, okay. So he changed his approach. Then going into 2024, a whole lot better. Some big steps forward. 4.7 wins above replacement. Hit 254. Okay, so jumped the batting average from 218 to 254. On base percentage up to 316. And slugging up to 349. Okay, so he gets a big time improvement in all 3 areas of the slash line. He stole 50 bases that year and 7 home runs. So a little bit of a power uptick, despite not trying to hit for power. But stole a ton of bases and got on base at a super high clip, and the batting average, big jump. Okay, so about an 80-point jump in OPS. Then we get to last year, 2025. Turang with 5.6 wins above replacement, hit 288. A 359 on base percentage, and a 435 slugging. His OPS jumped 130 points, a 121 OPS plus, 18 home runs. Okay, the power surged, especially in the second half there. His month of August was just stupid. 24 stolen bases, that took a dip down. But still, you can see batting average, 218, 254, 288. On base, 285, 316, 359. He has gotten better every single year. And I think he is only going to continue to get better. Okay, I think he's figured out how to be able to hit for power without trying to hit for power. Okay, he's got the second most left-handed power on the team. Okay, it is Christian Yelich and it is Bryce Turang. In terms of pure power from the left side, Bryce Turang has it. I have seen his batting practice sessions. He is peppering the second deck routinely in power. It is easy. It is easy power. You wouldn't believe it with how, skinny he is, but he is strong. Okay? He's got pop. And he's got speed. And he's got contact skills. And he's got defense. I mean, he has got everything that you want. So, Bryce Turang, I think he's only going to continue to get better. I think the power is going to continue to uptick now that he's figured out how to get to it in games a little bit more, how to get out in front on some of those pitches while also not selling out for it. So I could very easily see batting average, 300 this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. To have him hit 300, I think 20 plus homers, maybe even 25, is certainly within the realm of possibility. Now that he's got it figured out for a full season in terms of power, you can get a 300 hitter with 20, 25 home runs and gold glove defense at second base? Are you kidding me? My God, that is incredible. That is an incredible young player that you have on your hands at 26 years old. I saw this stat today, too, from Just Baseball. There are 3 players in Major League Baseball who, over the last 2 years, have a 10-plus wins above replacement on Baseball Reference, so 10-plus WAR, and 70 or more stolen bases over the last 2 years. There are 3 players who have done it. Shohei Ohtani. Okay, makes sense. Jose Ramirez. Okay. Bryce Turang. That's it. Those are the 3. Ohtani, Ramirez, Bryce Turang. Those are the only 3 players in baseball with 10 wins above replacement and 70 stolen bases over the last 2 years. That's quite the company for Bryce. It just shows how good his tool set is. And how valuable he is, what he brings. I think with the change in the base coaches here for the Brewers this year, I think the stolen bases will tick back up again. I think the Brewers are going to look to be a lot more aggressive on the bases this year. And I think we could see Turang stealing closer to 50 bases once again. So imagine a guy hitting 300 with 20, 25 home runs and 50 stolen bases. I mean, that is an absolute one hell of a table setter at the top of your lineup if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. So I am incredibly excited for what Bryce Turang can do this season. Very much looking forward to it. I know I've been super positive on like most of these guys, but still, I just really like what Turang can do at the plate and just how he's been able to grow and progress every single year. So that is going to be one to watch for sure. And I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. But we're going to have those games coming up soon. And games in general starting because today, Cactus League play officially opens. There's a handful of games going on Friday here. The Brewers are not one of them. The Brewers won't have their first game until tomorrow, until Saturday. But still, we are finally going to have actual baseball games to look at, to talk about. Going forward. I cannot wait for it. The Brewers are going to get a lot of their starters in the World Baseball Classic guys in there early in these Cactus League games before they have to go to the World Baseball Classic. So we're going to see Turang in there. We're going to see Abner Uribe in there. We're going to see William Contreras and Jackson Churio. We're going to see Tyler Black, Rob Z. We're going to see all these guys that are going to be heading to their World Baseball Classic teams pretty early on here. But yeah, Cactus League play is officially starting. The Brewers will start tomorrow. And, then, when we reconvene here on Brewers Daily on Monday, we're going to have actual games to talk about. And just seeing this team in action against another team, not just live BPs, not just bullpens, things like that. We are seeing actual games being played. They don't count, but they do count for the players in terms of trying to make the team and what we see from them and what we can expect for the year coming ahead. So very excited for that. We'll reconvene on Monday. So be sure to subscribe, get notified every single time a new episode drops because we're going to have games to talk about. Let's go. Follow me on Twitter as well at dgasper24. And we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.